welcome to the November Stamp of the Month free card kit. And this video is for those of you who purchased the Stamp of the Month, and by purchased I mean you qualified and got the free Stamp of the Month. And for the month of November, I decided to put together a 2-card kit that you can complete at home. They are going out in the mail today, and when you receive them, you'll be able to watch this video and do the projects. So what you're going to need is pine ink. Now, if you don't have pine, you could probably just use another green that's similar. I'm sure that a different shade of green will work. And then acorn ink. And again, you could substitute with toffee maybe, or another similar color. I also added in, and you don't have to do this, but I added in the goldenrod stickles. So this is like a gold shimmer. You'll need some foam tape or pop dots, a pair of scissors. I love the Close to My Heart micro tip scissors. They're my absolute favorite. They're so sharp and they just do a really nice job. I love to have a tweezers on hand. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I get lazy, but that might be something that you'll want to have. And then you'll need your kit that you get in the mail from me. So in the kit, you'll pull out, I have this. Now, this is not an instruction sheet. It's just something so you know what these are. And it does list the supplies needed and my contact info and just a thank you from me. I will email you some pictures of the completed project so you can see them up close and the video link. So if I grab one of these, let's see which one I have first. I'll set that envelope aside. Oh, the other thing you might want to grab is a bone folder if you like to have that to press open your envelopes. All right, so, or your card base. So in here we have our little pieces. I think for now that you've seen these, I'm going to set that aside and just clear my workspace here a little bit. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to press this card so that it lays nice and flat for me so that I can work. All right, this has been embossed with the Christmas floral, I don't even remember what it was called, embossing folder. There was a stencil set that went along with it. It did sell out, so I don't believe it's available anymore, but you could check to see. And it does get a little lost behind here, I will say. In fact, I kind of thought there might be some of you who will decide to save this and use it on another project just because it doesn't show up enough. But sometimes those little things are things that make a difference in a card. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to run it. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put my ink in I'm right-handed, in my right hand, and then just rub this along the edge just so that I get a little bit of definition to the edge and it will show up a little bit better on my card. So again, you could daub this with, I mean, if you wanted to do a blending brush and really make it stand out, but that's a different look. I just wanted this, just this little edging on here. So it's just kind of creating a line, and I'm using this acorn ink, like so. And again, you can go as dark as you want, or you could skip that. I'm just gonna set that there for a second to dry before I add it onto here. And then we have our pieces here. This is gonna go on top. Well, it's gonna go underneath that, so I guess I won't set that there. These two will go on top of each other. Let's get my sample card in here. That would probably be helpful, huh? So this is the card here that we're making. And so we're going to use this Thankful, Grateful, Blessed from the November Stamp of the Month. I forgot in my opening there to say that you needed that stamp set. So I have to grab mine because that would be an important thing to have on hand. So this is that stamp set. So many great sentiments on here. I love all the different fonts. I really, really liked this one. So the only thing is about this is that these 3 Thankful, Grateful, Blessed are separate. They kind of go together, but they are separate. I think this is a 3x3. Let's see if that will work. Yep, a 3x3 block is going to do nicely for this. Now, let's see, so the Thankful goes on top, and then the Grateful. And so I forget sometimes that when you put these, they always look like they're closer together than they actually stamp. Like that's just true when you're lining things up on a block, just in general. Okay, let's try. The other thing I could have done was line it up right on my piece of paper here that we're gonna stamp it on. Okay, so that fits. Okay, so now I'm just gonna rub it off on my hand. If this is the first time you're using this, you're gonna wanna season it by rubbing it on your arm or your hand. You can stamp it several times to get it to season, but to me that's a waste of ink. I'd rather just season it with my arm. And I'm gonna put the little foam piece that comes with your stamp set underneath. And now I'm going to re-ink this, and I guess I should test it one more time just to make sure. So I'll do that, and I didn't ink it up super well, but okay, that's better. All right, so now I'm really gonna ink this up, but again, it's a firm, but not overly firm, if that makes sense. Pressing, because you want the ink to be nice, and this is why doing it with a MISTI is really great. And then I'm just running my eye along the top that I see that I've got that lined up correctly, and then I'm just, again, kind of pressing firmly, but not super, super hard. And then it will stick a little, and so now you'll see that that has stamped. And it usually does dry a little lighter, so when you first stamp it'll look a little darker, and then as it dries it changes color a little bit. So all right, I think that's all we need. Oh, you know what I did do this piece and this piece. That's with that same technique of grabbing the stamp set. Now I see my sun is shining. It was cloudy so now I'm sorry, I have some shadows here. And so I'm just doing that same thing where I'm just adding a little edge so that it stands out a little bit. And I did the same thing on this. Now this does have a dark and a light side. I chose to do the dark side. You could choose either one that you feel like looks best. And I'm just giving, it's a subtle little addition, but it does kind of help it to pop out. All right, so now we're done with that, and now we're really ready to assemble. So I'm going to set my foam aside. I'm going to bring this over here. Okay, so I want to make sure my card is opening the correct way, and I'm going to place this down. Let's see, let me grab I was going to use liquid, but I think I'm going to see how this does. And we're just leaving a little border all the way around and giving that a nice press. So the nice thing about these stencils, and right now we have a snowflake one that is so pretty. Let's try to do a video with that. You can sand these down if you do this on a color cardstock. You can then sand this and it will reveal that white core. There are stencils that come with them that overlay, and you can color in different aspects of the design. So I loved this one, and the snowflake one I actually love even more. Okay, so now here's the one little part that we are going to want to add this little ribbon on beforehand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this onto the top part of this green. So the way that I like to do this, you might do it differently. I just put some adhesive right on my ribbon. And then I'm just going to lay this, and I'm just realizing I didn't tie it first. And so I might do that really quickly before I and I'm gonna trim some of this off because it's a little bit long. I'm just gonna tie this on, and you could have done this beforehand. But because I want this to tuck behind this piece, that's why we're doing it now. Okay, so we can trim that. Okay, so now I'm going to press that onto my base, lining that up on the cardstock. Lining that up like so. And then I'm going to fold this over, and I've still got some adhesive on my edges here, and just press that down like so, and then it'll go on the back. So, like so. And then I can trim this off here and this off there. Okay, so now, and then I'm going to put that adhesive right over that spot just to make sure that that stays put. Because we are gluing this onto this textured background, so that does need a little extra attention. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of set that there. I'm not totally pressing that in yet until I get these both lined up. And you can choose, like I kind of like the way this is coming down. Your piece is going to look different than mine. You could even leave this, you know, honestly, that's so pretty. There's so many different ways to make these things beautiful. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and press that down really hard because I want it to adhere to that paper, and I can go ahead and give this a good press there. All right, and then I'm going to add my little acorn, oops, and then we're gonna use some foam adhesive on this piece. So I'm just centering this, and then we're gonna, this is where we're gonna add our foam, and this is where, like, I do sometimes like my close to my heart foam, but if you've seen, sometimes I do my cheapy stuff too, so it just kind of depends. Do whatever works for you. I do have people who save my cards. You know, I know they'll tell me that they save them, but in all honesty, I realize that most likely they go in the garbage. After a while, they might sit on someone's shelf, or they might, you know, maybe they go in a card box or something, or sometimes people put them in albums or something like that. But, you know, more often than not, a card probably ends up in the trash after a while. So I like to add pretty things to it, and I want it to be beautiful, but all right, and then I'm just centering this like so, and there you have it. That one is done. So beautiful, if I do say so myself. This ribbon I got on Amazon, and if you are interested in it, let me know. I can send you the link for it. I do love this ribbon. It's glittery and pretty. It just seems to work nice. The glitter part doesn't come off. I just really like it. So let me know if you're interested in that. Okay, I love that card. All right, so our second card, I'm going to open this one up and pull out what we need there, and I'm going to press down my card so I get that nice. Now it just lays really nice and flat, although I just see I did it crooked. I don't know. Do that one more time. A little bit crooked. Okay. All right, that's better. so this piece right here, we are gonna take the light side. So this one's gonna open up from the bottom. Let me grab my sample here. And we are going to do this random stamping technique on this. So you're gonna want a block. There's a couple different ways to do this. Let me see which block I want. I don't seem to... I should have grabbed these ahead of time, huh? Okay, well, I'll just use this one and I'll take this off of here from another project. And I'm gonna grab my foam sheet, put that underneath, and then let's go back to our stamp set. I guess here I can wash this one off and put these back. Now they're upside down. It's gonna go this way. Thankful. I do try to line them up as best I can, just because when I go back to look at them, it's nice when they're lined up. All right, what I'm grabbing are these two little leaf, and what I'm gonna do is place them like this. And then I'm going to use the pine. So this is called a Tona. Oh, here's the block that I think I was looking for. Okay, I'm gonna do this. It doesn't really matter how you, well, I guess it does. Okay, now I just changed the way I'm doing it though. Let me see. Yeah, that's about how I had it. So I've got the two of them going in different directions because now we're gonna random stamp. And I might end up taking one off to just finish it up, but we'll start out with this. Okay, so I gotta look at, see, this is the light side. And this is called Tone on Tone because I'm using pine paper and pine ink. So it's a little bit more subtle. And so I'm just inking this up. Now, when I have a bigger block, this is where I have to be careful that I'm not getting ink on the edges. So I'm gonna want to constantly be checking for that. And then I'm going to pick a spot to start, and I might want it to come off the edge a little. So I'm gonna make my first stamp like so. And then I'm gonna ink it up again. And this time I'm going to turn and stamp again. And I'm just trying to make this kind of like a triangle. Sometimes it's easier to just turn your paper. And sometimes they're just gonna go off the edges, and you kind of want that. It makes it look, I don't know, more real, if that makes sense. Oh, I see I have some extra ink here, so I'm glad I didn't get that on there. So I'm just turning and trying to keep my space the same. Distance apart, and I could come in with just the tip of something right there, which I might do. And this is where I say I think turning the paper makes it a little easier than trying to keep turning my stamp. And so then this one is just like at the very tip of that there. I actually like that. And then one more right there. So now I gotta watch because I have a little bit of ink right there. And then I'm just gonna take the tip and put just a little coming in there. So then we have that random stamping on there. And then I'm gonna take my chamois, wipe off my block or my little branches or whatever. And then I'm also just gonna wipe this off because I probably have a little bit of ink there and it could get on something else. Okay, so now I'm gonna close this up for now because I don't want that to get on anything else. And I'm going to take these two off and put them back on my carrier sheet so I don't lose them. so let's just see where we're at here. So we've got this piece that's gonna go here, and we've got this piece that's gonna go here. Now we have another situation here where we need this, that's gonna be moved over to go on here, like so. So I'm gonna do the same thing again, where this is wanting to curve this way. So I think I will use that as my indication of which way to go. So I'm gonna add my adhesive, and I know this means I'm getting adhesive all over my mat, and I can use my, I forget what these are called, to rub that off. And I will say, you guys, the other day, sorry if it was you, I borrowed somebody else's and it was terrible. It didn't hardly work. I will say the Close to My Heart one works really well. All right, and now I'm going to, I gotta figure out which side I did this on. I'm going to just line this up along the edge. Oops, I didn't really get that on the edge. And then flip it over and fold back the two flaps. And now I can adhere this onto here. So I'm gonna add some adhesive, and I'm gonna make sure I put adhesive right over that spot and that spot, just so that stays put. And now I can place this. I just want to make sure I'm over far enough. And I'm not pressing right along the edge here because I'm going to grab this one and kind of shimmy this underneath that just ever so slightly, lining up on my edge. And now I can go ahead and press that down really well. All right. Okay, so oops, I did get some extra, sorry, I'm making my camera shake here. So if you're working along with me, you can always pause if I've gone too fast. I am trying to go just a little bit slowly to make sure that I'm not making mistakes for myself. All right, so then we're going to take this here and we're going to stamp, we're going to end up stamping this one section twice. So this, for the friendship we share, we're going to stamp that twice. But this little one, we're going to stamp that in acorn or toffee, whatever you're using. So I have that, because we're going to end up just fussy cutting that one spot, the friendship banner. So I'm going to put that on. I'm going to season it, especially if it's your first time. If you've already used it, you don't, it's just a habit of mine to do it. I'm going to ink that up well. I'm going to put my little foam underneath here and stamp that. Giving that a nice press, letting it kind of soak in for a second. And there we have that. And again, it's going to dry a little lighter. Oh, here's the chamois. I'm going to wash that off of that color. And then I do want to make sure that this is dry before I stamp it with the other color, but I'm going to let that sit a minute. And, well, maybe as long as we, no. I'm going to close this up for a second. I'm trying to decide the pattern, or not pattern, what am I trying, the order in which I want to do these. Okay, so I am using my microtip scissors. I am turning the paper with my left hand, if you're right-handed, and just keeping my scissors kind of straight and cutting along with my right hand and guiding the paper with my left. And I'm just leaving that little bubble of white on the edge. I'm not trying to get right up to that. That's what makes fussy cutting easier. If you're trying to cut right along the edge, and I am rounding my corners just a little bit on this banner because that's how they are. That's what makes fussy cutting easier, is going right along the, is not going right along the edge, but just leaving that little white bubble, because then you don't have to be quite so picky. So that's gonna be right there. And then we're going to take this and we're gonna, I think we're gonna do, I guess I gotta decide. Okay, I think I'm gonna grab, what I do a lot of times, I'm gonna grab my Thankful, which is right here, and I'm going to set it. I'm trying to decide which one I wanna do first to get it correct here. So I want my straight edges of my, I think this is a hexagon, right? Right there. And then this, we're going to stamp, whoops, I got it upside down, here, and then we're going to put this over. I'm almost wondering if I did use toffee, I might not have had my acorn, or it might just dry, but this is acorn, so that's weird. Yeah, that is acorn. Okay, so I'm gonna stamp this in pine. Trying to decide, do I wanna do, I think, yeah, I think I can do that. Really, it's, the Thankful's gonna go kind of right at the point. So I'm gonna open this up and I'm going to ink this. And I want to make sure that I don't have anything extra. See how I had that green right there? I can use my rag, my chamois, but sometimes I just wanting to get both the we share and the for the. So that's what I'm lining up. And what I'm eyeing, because that banner, oops, I hope that's good. Okay, that worked. So this banner is not really what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on this we share and this line here. So if you use, as you're, don't get distracted by everything else, you want to just kind of keep your eye on the line here and this, so that you don't get it cockeyed. And then what we're gonna do, so we're done with our pine, because that's all we needed for that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add this right on top with a little bit of foam. But before we do that, we're gonna stamp the Thankful. So I'm gonna put this back on my sheet. And then we're gonna grab, oh, I already grabbed the Thankful. It's right here. I'm gonna pick that up. Season it if you haven't done so already. And then I'm going to stamp this in acorn. Ink that up well. I'm still on my foam. I want to make sure I don't have any ink along the edges of my block here to get on anything. And then I'm going to line this up, keeping an eye on both my points on either end. Thankful. And then you could add a little bit of color behind it if you want. I did not put that on the list because I forgot I did that. Let me see if I've got one of my daubers here. Let's see here. Is this pine? That's sage. I could do sage, but I'm from the paper station. Oops. So I had grabbed a whole bunch of these that I thought I might need. Let me see if I can find my pine. There's pine. Okay. Set the rest of these aside. And we can come back to this pine color. And again, I might want just my little piece of scratch paper here to have on hand, because it's nice to just kind of tap it off a little bit and get that excess off. And then I'm just going to use this to blend a little color behind the thankful word. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. And again, that's not necessary. And then the last thing we're going to do, well, not the last thing, but almost the last thing, going to add, just clear this off here a little bit. Add a little foam tape to the back of the banner. Let's see, make sure I didn't get that where it's peeking out. I do love the foam tape. It is very easy to use. The backing peels off so nice. It cuts through the scissors really nice. Okay, so we just want to line that up right on top of where it was. And then this is just going to get regular adhesive. And we're gonna line this up like so. Lining that up like that. And then the last thing that I did on this one was I used these golden stickles. You just want to make sure that you give this enough time to dry, because it can be very, it takes a while. And so what I did was I just kind of put gold dots, and I did very tiny. And what I like to do is, I don't know if you can see this, but I kind of tap, tap it. I don't know why I do that, but it just seems to kind of work. And then just randomly kind of putting these kind of in between where the leaves were and the empty spaces. Sometimes less is more. I might do one tiny one right on the edge right here. Like so. That one's a little bit small. I know sometimes people find this frustrating, but... And then what I did was, and you could use some gold glitter gems or something if you have them, but I did 2 dots. I did one right here, one right here, and then I did 2 along the bottom of the friendship. Like so. And there you have that all done. And that just gives that little bit of sparkle, picks up on the sparkle on the ribbon. But like I said, you just have to be careful that you let it dry. I am now realizing that I wonder if I did not have, or I just thought that this was not acorn and that this was toffee. And the toffee is there and this is the acorn. So either one will actually work fine. But if I look at this paper packet, the color is acorn, black, French vanilla, mink, mocha, pine, sage, and shortbread. So toffee is not even in there, but I think toffee looks just fine with that. So that completes both projects. And I just thank you for your orders this month. And I try to do these once in a while. I know for a while I was doing them really every month, but as my life got a little busier and my business got a little busier with the paper station, and I just have to do what I can do. So once in a while when I have time, I'll throw out a kit that I can do for those of you who placed the $50 orders in the month of whichever month. So I'll try to do one for December. The December stamp of the month is the snow globes. I just made one card here. I don't know if this will be one of them. Maybe it will be. But I made this snow globe and colored it in with some colored pencils, added a little bit of stickles, and then this is Feeling Merry is from a different stamp set, but that was a cute card. This is a page map sketch for winter 2023. So there you go, and thank you for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.